Okay, so now let's add an event handler on the form. So this element here is the form element that we have selected right here. So let's say this dot element dot on submit. So when we submit the form, then we want to do the validation. Okay, but since the form will submit to a page, we want to get the event, and then here, and then do prevent default. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do, so that when you submit the form, nothing gets submitted to any page. So let's do a quick console.log here. So let's do console.log. So let's do form submitted. Okay, I'm gonna save that. So back in the browser here, let's open up our console. When we submit the form, now we should get a message here saying form submitted. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh that, and it says element is not defined. So jQuery.validate line 13. Let's see what the error is. So on line 13, it says element is not defined. Okay, so basically we don't have to pass an element here, because of course it doesn't exist. I'm sorry, it should be this. Okay, so this here in this function here means the element that you selected. All right, so back in the browser, refresh, and it says options is not defined. All right, so let's see what that is. So of course it means that est here. Back in the browser, refresh again. So now everything seems to work fine. Now when I submit, it says form submitted. Okay, so everything seems to work as far as until here. So next, what we need to do is we need to call a validate function, which we have to create. So let's do let's select the form function instance here, this function. So let's do var self equals to this. So we're selecting the current function here. So let's do self dot validate. Okay, so this here is going to do the validation. Now let's create that function. So extend this form here by doing jQuery validate dot prototype, and then dot validate. Okay, equal to function. So next, let's get the form data objects. Okay, so basically we're getting the values of these elements here. And how you do that is you say var form data equals to $.serialize array. Okay, but we're gonna have to call that on the element. So we're gonna have to do this dot element, which is the form element dot serialize. So let's do serialize array. Okay, so that is going to give us an array with keys of name and values. All right, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of work, but before we do that, let me show you the how the format of that. So let's do console.log, and then let's do form data. Okay, so back in the browser, refresh. Now when I submit, we have arrays. So each object in the array is the form elements you're seeing here. So let's expand that, and each element has a name, which is the name of the input field here. In this case, it is name. The second one is email, and the third one is password. Okay, so if we look at the console, we're gonna see the second one, the name is email, the value is empty of course, and the third one is password. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of work so that that gets submitted to the server in a better way. So let's do select another variable here. Let's do var actually let's make that all in one var statement. So let's do form data object. Okay, so I'll show you why we're doing that in a moment. So that's just an empty object. So let's loop over the array elements here. So let's do $.each, and then we loop over form data. Since it's an array, then each element of the array will be passed on to this function here. So let's do key value. Okay, so we're only interested in the value. We leave the key as it is, because of course each element has a key and value, name and value. So we'll do form data object, and then we'll say value dot name equals to value dot value. Okay, and the reason why we're doing that is because each element has a key of name and a value of a key of name and value, and the name is the name of the element and the value is the value. That's why we're doing it for value here, so we don't need the key. Okay, so next let's do console.log of form data object, and you will see what I mean. So now when I come here, let's refresh, submit. As you can see now, this is how we want to submit it to the form, to the server.php file through Ajax. Okay, this is the format we need. So let's enter some things here, enter, submit. Now you can see this is what we have. Okay,